Hi students, I just wanted to give you a short review of your midterm and to give you some parameters to think about. I don't normally give you all or give any of my classes review sheets. That's not how I operate because I do believe that you are at the college level and that, this is the way college is. Professors don't necessarily give review sheets. However, I will give you some resources to help you review and an idea of how to prepare yourself. So this is what this video is going to be about. I'm going to go ahead and minimize myself and go to Pearson. So you should be seeing your assignments like this, every week when you open up Revel. If you look under Study, which is right here, you'll notice that every single chapter there's a little hyperlink, okay, of every single chapter. So if you click on the chapter, you'll have opportunities to use flashcards, matching, and then a practice, which is kind of like a quiz. So it's really cool that they give you ways in which you can learn material. For example, what is CAPE, the Council for Accreditation of Educator Preparation? By the way, and just to let you know, that this particular organization is used as an accrediting agency for many university educator preparation programs. So if you click on it, it gives you the definition. Okay, accrediting agency, 2010, it used to be NCATE, and now a merger between NCATE and TEAC. Okay, so go on to the next term, and there's recertification. Click on it, and then there's the definition. So you want to learn the information in here of the terminology in Chapter 1. Now, is Chapter 1, am I going to test over all the terminology? Not necessarily, but you should be familiar with all the terms within each chapter. Now, will you be given recall questions on your test? Not necessarily. You may be given the term in a scenario and you have to apply the term in some way. And I'm going to go through some of your quiz questions to give you an idea as well. So this is just one method, and then there's a matching. Okay, so this is how the matching works. Let's go to Alternative Certification Program. You click on it, and then you read through the definitions here and see which definition that's noted on this page that is actually the Alternative Certification Program. Well, if you choose, let's say this one, benefits, okay, that are given to teachers, addition to base salary, is that the same thing as alternative certification? Let's say you think it is. So you click on it. That red means that's not the correct answer. So you click on it again, and then read this one, a provision allowing people of complete college to become certified teachers, not a teacher education program. That's actually it. So you click on it and you get it right, and then you move on to the next one, fringe benefits. This is actually that one. Same situation, and then you keep completing it until you have finished this page. Now I've come to the last one. I've matched all of the other terms, and then here's the last one. You finish it, and then it gives you another set of terms. So you can go through this to practice matching all the terms in Chapter 1. Again, it's all practice. And then there's another practice for key terminology where you basically are given a term, and then you have to see if you don't know it or know it. If you don't know it, you obviously click don't know it, and it'll be start for you to review next time. And then you go to the next one, and here is a definition basically, and then you type your answer, and you either click submit or you skip it. So if you skip it, it's going to start also. Okay, and it's going to come back to a other type of question. So it's nice that this gives you a variation of a multiple choice, short answer, or whatnot to give you practice on the types of terms within each chapter. So this is a great way to practice the terminology for each chapter, okay? And you can go through all the chapters to practice, okay? And then there's a whole bunch of other ones. The other thing about each one of these chapters I forgot to mention is that there are also some multimedia, okay? So you were given the videos that were noted within the chapter and some also figures and diagrams. And this is really nice because it kind of puts it all in one area, because I do want you to familiarize yourself with some of the diagrams and tables. And the way you can familiarize yourself with that is just to understand, what is this table about, what is its purpose, and what kind of main ideas can I get from it, okay? The specific type of information. So let me just click on this one so you can see. To make a difference in students' lives. This is basically most significant reasons why teachers become, why people become teachers. To make a difference in students' lives is number one. So that's something to remember. And the least significant is to have summers off. You know, some people think that's probably one of the highest ones, but obviously through this survey that was taken and was published in this chapter, it's the lowest. So those are types of things you might want to take note of, take notes on for you to remember, okay, when it comes to diagrams and tables. And then videos, let me go back to show less. The videos, there's only 2 videos in this chapter, and I did have you review them in my lecture, just to give you an idea of what the video is all about. Just the main ideas. That's it. Nothing too daunting or taxing. Okay, so that's one way to practice your review for a test. The other way, just as a reminder, you do have access to every single part of each chapter, okay, that I've given you. So let's go to section 1.1. You have this chapter, okay, this section of the chapter, and then you can review it, take highlight notes, take notes, whatever you want to do to help you remember the information. And as you're going through it, you will still have access to the questions, okay? So when you look at the question that is given to you, look at this. It's scenario-based. These types of questions are frequently used in your future certification tests. Which of the following scenarios shows an example of a teacher who has passion for teaching the learning process? So the most important part of this is to understand what the learning process is about. Did you learn that in this part of the chapter? Okay, if you didn't, I would go back into the chapter, understand what the learning process is about, and then figure out which of these answers is the right answer according to what the learning process is about. Now, is this question going to be on the test? It may or may not be. However, you should know what the learning process is. Those are the types of things you need to pay attention to when you're preparing for a test. What are the not only definitions and terminologies, but what is the essential part of these questions? Let's go to the next one. During a job interview, which of the following might be the best question a principal could ask to reveal a teacher's passion for teaching? Well, how does the chapter actually define what a teacher's passion for teaching is about? Okay, so you can go back into the chapter to find out how the chapter and the authors define passion for teaching, and then you can decipher which answer is correct. Okay, so that's one important way to prepare for a test. Here's another one. There are many reasons teacher enter the teaching profession. The reason stated most often is, remember we went over that diagram or that graph? Have an outlet for the love of the subject, have a good work-family balance, have summers off, make a difference in students' lives. That graph specifically showed that this answer is correct, is the correct answer according to the survey, okay, that they created. And remember from that graph that summers off was the least reason that people actually put in there on that survey. Okay, so that's why you kind of need to pay attention to some of the graphs that are in there as well and summarize what is the main part of the graph that I need to pay attention to. And I showed you from that last graph the most and the least. And it was really easy to answer this question once we saw what the most was, right? Okay, the cool thing about your questions, now when you're taking the test, right now, when I'm taking this quiz, I could actually go back into my chapters, right, the table of contents, and try to find the answer. There's no timed response to these questions. Okay, I can even X out of it and go back. Okay, and try to find the answer. There's no time limit for you when you're taking the quiz. Now, there is a time limit when you are taking the test. You only have about 2 hours to take the test, and it is over chapters 1 through 8. If you have not organized your notes that you've taken over the chapter and, studied the terminology, then you won't get through the test. I've had students not finish the test because I think they're really reading the chapter and trying to find the answers the very first time that they've ever even reviewed the chapter. So that's not a good method when it comes to open note, open book. I think a lot of students get the misconception that open note, open book means, oh my gosh, this is going to be a way easier test because I can just read and look for the answer. Not when it comes to a timed test. And that's another part of your your content test. When you start taking your certification test, they're all timed. And they're not open note, open book. You have to go by your own knowledge that you've learned through this class, through your next classes that you're going to be taking in your EPP. So you cannot rely on just going back through information. You have to rely on your knowledge that you've learned. So you've got to do some review and studying even for an open note, open book test. Okay? Let me see if there's anything else in the chapter that I want you to pay attention to. Let me go back to student view. Okay, student view. Okay, so even though you have this student view here and it says chapter 5, as you go through the entire part of the section, you will end up going through chapter 6 because it's both chapter 5 and 6 that's due, even though it doesn't show it on there. Okay, let me go back again to that access. Sorry. Get through these navigation areas. Okay. So you have access to the book, which is right here. You can take notes, which is right here in this notebook. Okay. Add your notes. You can obviously use all of these study tools within each chapter, and then your grades for each, okay, each section that you have. All right, if you click on this, it should show you, well, it actually goes back to the chapter. And I just want to iterate for you all that you need to get all of your ducks in a row when preparing for this open note, open book. It's a lot of chapters, a lot of terminology, a lot of information, and the only way you can really do well on this test is to be prepared. You can't go through this test thinking that, oh, I'll just review the information right off, right at that moment. It's not going to work. And so these are my tips for the test. I wish you well, and I wish that you do fantastic.